Hi, I want to start this video by apologising for two things. Now, if you saw my last video, you may have noticed that the footage quality was very poor, and I didn't realise that till I come to film this. I filmed it, went to edit and thought, God, that looks terrible. Filmed it all again, still terrible. And I think I've worked out that where I've dropped my GoPro, my brand new GoPro Hero 13 at Mount Benambra, I chipped the lens just here in two places. I think it's focusing on those chips. I'll speak to GoPro tomorrow and see if that is the case, and I'll have to get a new lens, which is a real pain in the butt. Second apology is if you come here for bikepacking and mountain biking, sorry there hasn't been any on this channel for a while. I injured my leg 6 weeks ago. It is slowly healing and I don't want to rush it, but as soon as it's better, I'll be back mountain biking and bikepacking. So if you can bear with me. Now last week I released a video of my time in the Mitter Valley, Mount Benambra, Dartmouth Dam. If you didn't see it, I'll link it up here so you can take a look if you'd like to. Now whilst I was there, I sat in the bush and told two true life disappearance stories pertinent to the area I was in at the time, but they made the edit far too long, so I left them out. So today, this video is that footage. I hope you find it interesting. So this story is very pertinent to my trip I've done this weekend. It was autumn 2023 here in Australia, so just over a year ago. Lillian Ip of Cheltenham, Melbourne, Australia, was holidaying in the high country town of Bright, and she decided to take a day trip out in her car to visit Dartmouth Dam, just like I did. On her way to the dam, she stopped off in a store in the township of Metolius, and that was on Sunday the 30th of April 2023. That evening, because she failed to call her family as she usually did, they raised the alarm and a search kicked off. I don't know which route she'd taken, but as you can see from the map I'm going to put on the screen now, where I've plotted the surfaced road to Metolius, that's a 140-kilometre drive from Bright. Then there's around 13 kilometres on the Omeo Highway, which is a surfaced road. So I speculate if she was found where I think she was, she'd have had to go off-road like I did onto the fire road for around 30 kilometres. It said she reached a dead end in the track and then tried to turn around, realising she'd gone the wrong way. But her car got bogged down. With no phone signal, she couldn't summon help. With health issues, walking for help wasn't an option. All credit to her for getting that far, 30 kilometres on an off-road track, because she was driving a Honda Jazz. So she did well to get that far until she got bogged. The emergency services spent nearly a full week searching for her. Luckily, she remained with her car the whole time, so at least they had something to look for. Her poor family must have been beside themselves, waiting for news. Lillian had no water in her car, so she had to resort to drinking a bottle of wine that she'd bought as a gift for her mother, and she's a teetotaler, but it's the only drink she had. She had a few snacks and a fruit box and some lollies. Lollies are what Australians call candy or sweets. To top it all, she had ran out of cigarettes during the ordeal too. Luckily, she had a blanket in the car and was able to run the engine to get heat, so she obviously had enough fuel in it. By the Thursday, Lillian had just about given up on being rescued, and then on the Friday, she was spotted frantically waving at a police search helicopter. They gave directions to the ground crew, who drove out and rescued her. Lillian told 9 News that she thought she was going to die out there, and by the 4th day she was convinced of it. Poor Lillian, it must have been a very frightening time for her. She said she even wrote a letter to her family telling them that she loved them and not to cry for her. How sad. Sergeant Martin Torpey of the Wodonga Police said that Lillian was relieved and grateful to see them. I bet she was. Luckily, one of the police women had some cigarettes on her, and I guess that would have been a big relief to Lillian, to get rescued and get a cigarette. And when they found her, she was 60 kilometres away from the nearest town. So if she had to hike out, even if she was able, it would have been a very long hike. Lillian was taken to hospital where she was checked over, treated for dehydration and kept under obs with no other injuries being found. Lillian has promised if she goes on a road trip again, she will be better prepared. Let's just hope it never happens to her again. Lillian did a great job at remaining calm and getting by on what supplies she had. And staying with the car was absolutely the right thing to do. As we know, getting lost in the Australian bush is very easy. So that was the story of Lillian Ip and her attempted visit to the Dartmouth Dam. Congratulations to all the emergency services that were involved. I'm glad they persisted. That was into day 6. It's a good job they didn't call it off any earlier. But a well coordinated and thorough search giving us the result we wanted. So congratulations to all, and I hope Lillian is doing fine now. So what can we take away from this? Well, first of all, Lillian did a great job, if she went the way I thought she did, of driving a Honda Jazz that far up a fire road, because they're not always easy, even if it's not got deep ruts in it. It can be rocky and precarious at times. So she did a great job, but really it's not the car to go off-road on, even if it says it's okay for 2-wheel drive. You just never know. So perhaps the first takeaway is have the right car for going off-road, or have the tools to get yourself out of a sticky situation. Our second takeaway, now always carry water in your car. Carry something like 10 litres. You can get big plastic containers to put 10 litres of water in, hide it under your seat or somewhere like that. Make sure it isn't going to spill out onto your electronics. Put it under your seat and forget it. Because then not only can it be emergency drinking water, it can be for your engine too. So make sure you buy good quality water, and it could serve both purposes. Leading on from the water, takeaway 3 would be take a complete emergency kit, and in that have the water, unperishable food, warm clothes, blanket, toilet paper, first aid kit, air horn or whistle, and also a method of lighting a fire. Put them somewhere in your car, leave them, forget them, and hopefully you'll never need them. But if you do, you know you've got something to help you survive a situation. Takeaway number 4. If you are going off-road, whether it be wilderness or formed tracks, take a PLB or a satellite phone with you, because you will not have a telephone signal most likely. So takeaway number 5 would be that Lillian knew she had health problems, and one has to question whether, if you've got health problems or if you're disabled, that if you don't go prepared to be able to get yourself out of a situation, possibly you shouldn't put yourself in that place. So what I'm saying is, perhaps if you have health issues, think about the worst that could happen, and is it safe for you to go there? Takeaway 6 would be that what a great job Lillian did with staying with her car. If you're staying with your car and it's not in a clearing, it's not on the fire road, because the helicopters probably would, I don't know, I'm not a rescuer, but I presume they follow fire roads when they know you've been in a particular area. If it's not on the fire road, if it's slightly off, perhaps spell out in a clearing in rocks or branches, SOS in huge letters. Use a mirror to try and signal if you do see a helicopter. You've obviously got mirrors on your cars. If you have to break one to use it, then it's better to get rescued and have a broken mirror, I think. So yeah, just think of a way of making signals. But hopefully you've got a PLB on you or a satellite phone and you won't need it. Another takeaway from Lillian's example is rationing your fuel to provide heat when you need it. So by starting the engine only when you really need to. And a really good point to make is if you're bogged, make sure your exhaust pipe is not blocked off by mud or snow, because if you don't, you could become poisoned by carbon monoxide. More often than not, the high country disappearance stories that I've told you have all been in the Victorian Alps area of the Australian high country, which are located in the state of Victoria. This is all part of the Great Dividing Range Cordillera system, which runs for more than 3,500 kilometres, parallel to the eastern seaboard of Australia, north to south. In fact, this is the longest mountain range contained within one country in the whole world. So today's case, we're moving north to the New South Wales area of the Great Dividing Range into the Snowy Mountains area. And the Snowy Mountains area houses Australia's highest mountain, Mount Kosciuszko. Now, it was only a month ago, on Monday, the 21st of October 2024, that a hire car company reported to police that a car had not been returned and that it had been stationary in quite a remote area for 6 days. The vehicle had been left at the Kiandra Courthouse, located in a remote area off the Snowy Mountains Highway, in the high plains of the Kosciuszko National Park. There are conflicting reports, as there often are. Some say the car was locked, some say the keys were in the car. The courthouse is a restored building sitting in scrubland with not much around except scattered granite boulders. In the past, Kiandra has been known for a very short gold rush back in the day, and also it's mooted to be the birthplace of skiing in Australia. Nowadays, the Kiandra Courthouse is a tourist attraction and you can park up there as well, and you can take one of the walking, cycling or horse riding trails from that location. On receiving the report from the hire car company, the police immediately deduced that Lovisa Sjoberg, a 48-year-old photographer who couldn't be contacted, had parked her Mitsubishi Outlander at the courthouse and then had proceeded to go on a hike to do some photography. I think we can rule out that Lovisa was going on a multi-day hike because she knew that the car was due for return to the hire car company. If I've done my research properly, I think I'd be right in saying that Lovisa, known to her friends as Kiki, started her photographic career in her birthplace of Sweden. After a holiday in Sydney, she fell in love with Australia and continued her studies in New South Wales. She's an acclaimed photographer, and nowadays she specialises in photographing mainly the Snowy Mountains and the Northern Rivers area of New South Wales. Lovisa hadn't spoken to anyone since Tuesday the 8th of October. Apparently she was seen driving a week later at around 7 AM on the 15th of October. That was 6 days before she was reported missing on Monday the 21st of October. The police were gravely concerned for Lovisa's welfare, and it immediately triggered a multi-agency search response with volunteers, the Rural Fire Service, the State Emergency Service, the New South Wales National Parks Service, the police, all working together on horseback, dirt bike, all-terrain vehicle, on foot and in helicopter, scouring the rugged terrain of the Kosciuszko National Park, which has an area of 690,000 hectares. Lovisa was said to be a capable hiker, and she knew the Kosciuszko National Park well. But perhaps she got turned around and lost her bearings. Had she had an accident? Or was foul play involved? Perhaps her car had just been dumped there by coincidence. Lovisa was an advocate for the Brumby wild horses of the Kosciuszko National Park. Now, these are horses that were introduced to Australia and that certain quarters feel it necessary to helicopter shoot them. Being an advocate for them, she'd have probably gained some enemies from the shooting fraternity. So it is a possibility she had some enemies. The ground and air crews scoured the rugged bush and plains with help from the local horse riding community, including mountain cattleman and horse trekking guide and Brumby advocate and friend of Lovisa's, Peter Cochrane. Also joining the hunt was another friend of Lovisa's, fellow bush photographer Ian Brown. He joined the search and he'd hiked with Lovisa previously, so he knew her preferred haunts up there, which were always in very remote areas to get the best shots of the Brumbies. Apparently, she had been bitten by a copperhead snake 3 times that he knew of, and she'd always lived to tell the tale. Ian stating that she knew how to look after herself. Horseman Peter Cochrane worked tirelessly with 9 other riders to help find his good friend Lovisa, with whom he shared that passion for saving the Brumbies of the Kosciuszko National Park. But it wasn't to be either of her friends, Peter or Ian, that was to find her. She was eventually located at 4:50 on Sunday the 27th of October by a National Parks and Wildlife Service officer. She was found wandering, dazed and injured on the Nunga Creek Trail. Now, the Nunga Creek Trail is a very long trail. I've no idea where she was actually found. I'll put an image on the screen so you can see, but she was found somewhere on that trail. Lovisa had twisted her ankle, she was dehydrated, and she had yet another snake bite, which had happened 4 days before she was found. It's believed to be another copperhead snake bite. Lovisa was taken to a High Plains hospital in the town of Cooma, where she was said to be in reasonable condition. A police spokesman saying that they were leaving her until she was fit enough to talk. Everyone rejoiced that Lovisa had been found. Her friends, the rescue services, the police, and she said she was so happy to be alive too. We still don't know if she had camping equipment with her. If not, we presume she was on a day hike, so therefore she was missing for 12 days. That's a long time to be out in the wilderness, injured and with a snake bite. Hopefully she'll tell her story one day and I will relay that to you should it happen. It sounds like a well-managed, thorough and methodical search was carried out, giving the result we'll want. So congratulations to all the services and her friends and volunteers that were involved in the search for Lovisa. Well done and congratulations. I'm following Lovisa on Instagram now. Her photographs of the Brumbies are absolutely stunning. So if you want to follow her and give her a bit of a boost, please do. The Instagram handle is Brumby Strong. And also you can check out her artwork on bluethumb.com.au. So that's the story of Lovisa Sjoberg and another successful rescue by the services. So that's the 2 stories I had for you that were pertinent to the area I was sitting in at the time. I hope you found them interesting. I'm so pleased that we sometimes get a rescue and not a recovery, or worse still, where in high country the missing are never found, because it's so terrible for the families. But congratulations to all involved. I hope Lovisa and Lillian are both doing well and are getting over their ordeal. So from me, until next time, it's a goodbye for now.